Good evening. Welcome to the October edition of our live XCTV webinar. And we are just delighted you've joined us tonight for what I promise is going to be an incredibly exciting evening. You know, at this point, we normally begin with a discussion of the current runners and the teams racing and meets across the country. However, I'm going to bring in my co-host, Olympian Carrie Tollefson, right now because we have a very special guest with us tonight and several very special announcements made. So first off, welcome, Carrie.
Thanks so much for having me back, Tim. I'm super excited to be here.
It's almost like Christmas, isn't it? All right, here we go. So at Christmas, you open up presents. And so let me first now introduce, and it's my pleasure, Adam Hirstig, who is the Vice President of Champs Sports East Bay. Adam, I'd like to welcome you. It's a pleasure to have you with us today. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me. Hopefully my mic's working well. Good to be with you all. How are you?
Great. You're coming in loud and clear. And we understand you have a pretty special announcement for us. So would you like to make that now?
I would like to make that now. Thank you. Yes. Announcement. It's been a long time coming, a bit of a delay. Apologies on that. But yes, big announcement. The longest running high school national championship. It's back. Yeah. The legendary Foot Locker Cross Country Championship is back. It's handing the baton to East Bay. So a couple quick things, right? As we know it to be, top high school cross country runners from across the nation are going to compete in this East Bay Cross Country Championship, the ECCC Regionals, in hopes of becoming the national finalists. So I just want to hit the dates. These regional 5K races across the country, we're going to host in the Northeast, Bronx, New York, the South, Charlotte, North Carolina, the Midwest, Kenosha, Wisconsin. Those are on Saturday, November 27th. And then the West Regional in Walnut, California is going to be Saturday, December 4th. Then the top 8 finishers from each seeded regional race will qualify for the East Bay Cross Country National Finals. That's December 11th in San Diego, as it's always been. And they're going to obviously join an impressive roster of Olympians, as per usual. We expect a great turnout. We have enhanced precautions to ensure we'll have a safe race. So we want to thank all the participants in advance and wish them good luck. I'm sure it'll be a great turnout. But here's the important part. For registration, you can register online at www.eastbaycrosscountry.com as of Friday, October 15th at 9 a.m. East. So hang on to that date and hang on to that website. We and our running partners at East Bay and Champs in East Bay, we're excited to host you. You can bet we are going to have some prizes and surprises in store. So thank you, have fun, and run fast.
Oh, Adam, thank you so much. You know, these are really challenging times for everybody, corporations, high schools, coaches, athletes, and all. It's just such a delight that you guys have worked so hard to put this together. So I'm going to give you a big thank you from every cross-country runner in the nation, every coach, for East Bay and Foot Locker all stepping up to do this. We really do appreciate it. It's going to be great. It will truly be, you know, we went 13 years as Kinney, and we've been Foot Locker, and now we'll be East Bay this year and for many years to come. So thank you so much.
It's our pleasure, and thanks to the whole team behind everyone for making it happen, and for you guys for broadcasting this and making it a worthy event. Appreciate it.
You know, Carrie's an Olympian, and she's a 3-time Foot Locker national finalist. So, Carrie, the tradition will continue, will it not?
Oh my gosh, my heart rate is up. I'm pumped. This is going to be so exciting. And, you know, the kids, that's what it's all about. They will never forget being East Bay now alumni. You know, I mean, it's going to be really fun. So thanks for doing this. We're excited.
Of course, our pleasure. Thanks so much. Appreciate it.
Every kid all over the country, they've got you say, hey, you doing Foot Locker? Do you do Foot Locker? What do you Foot Locker? So now it'll be, hey, you're doing East Bay, huh? And in a couple years. So we'll have to make a little bet of how many times we screw up and say Foot Locker over the next
That's okay.
3 or 4 months. But we'll get it right all the time. So
hey, I went back and forth. I was Kinney my first year and then Foot Locker the last 2 years. And it was the best experience both ways. So they're going to get used to it real quick.
Good. And the experience should stay the same.
Yep.
Thank you so much. We really do appreciate you sharing this big announcement with us. You mentioned the 8 qualifiers, you mentioned the regionals, and you mentioned we'll be in San Diego on December 11th for the national championship, a true national championship. We've been missing it, and it's going to be back. So once again, thank you so much, Adam, and thank you, East Bay, for joining us tonight and for supporting this event for another 40 years.
Love it. Sounds good.
All right.
Thank
Good
you, guys.
night. Thank you. All right, Carrie, how exciting. We know we're back for sure.
Yay.
And we know we have a national championships. All those kids that have been training, planning to, how do I get up that big hill twice? Well, you're going to get your chance to get up that big hill twice. And it's just exciting to have East Bay involved with the national championships. So,
And we've seen them, the last couple of years.
Yeah.
They've been around. So they know what to expect. They know that, being at the Del Coronado and rubbing shoulders with the Olympians and the alumni, so they're pumped to have it, and this is important. So I'm excited.
This is as good a news as we've had in quite a while.
Exactly.
It's so exciting. We were hoping it was going to happen, and now we know that for sure. And you want to be one of those first people to register. Friday morning, go to eastbaycrosscountry.com at 9 o'clock, and you can register. Get your teammates. Come on down. You're still doing regionals. We've had the South and the Midwest and the Northeast coordinators on. We're going to have Doug Todd from the West a little bit later. They're excited. You got 4 great meet directors all over the country that put on really a great regional. Everybody's going to have a chance to run in that. So come run in that regional, and hopefully you'll be one of the 8 that make it to the Nationals and join us in San Diego. Hey, Carrie, just real quick, though, you've been out all over yourself, running all over the place, huh? When I say running all over the place, I don't mean just covering races, racing, because Carrie won't mention it, but Carrie just finished the Twin Cities Marathon. She was the winner of the Masters division, a top 10 finish, broke 3 hours in the marathon at a young age we won't even ask.
Oh, man, please don't.
2:59 is pretty impressive. How was that, huh?
It was an okay day. I'll take the sub 3. My training was decent, so I really have no business putting any goals out there right now or any expectations. But I'm not nearly as good on the hills as I was when I went to Balboa when I raced when I was younger. So the hills really ate me up, but it was still super fun. So, yep. And then I also have been doing my commentary again. So I was in Chicago first to see a lot of our Foot Locker alum. Emma Bates was second on the women's side. Sarah Hall was third on the women's side. And then Galen Rupp was second on the men's side. And then I was not in Boston this year, but I was watching one of our Foot Locker alum, Kara Goucher, doing the commentary, and CJ Albertson. I don't know if you guys got to see it, but he was up front. There he is. He was up front leading for 21 miles. He led at Foot Locker. I think he finished 36, did we say, Tim?
Yeah, he did in 2011, yeah.
Yeah. So his Strava said, finished better than I did at Foot Locker. So really fun seeing all the athletes compete, but especially our very own family out there getting after it.
Hey, you got to love him. That was one heck of an effort. If you guys didn't see it, what do you have, a minute 40 lead at some point?
No, it was over 2 minutes.
Oh, wow. Holy cow. But boy, at 20 miles, he was hurting, but he hung in there, and you said he even felt not too bad after. He ran it pretty well, huh?
Yeah, and that's what I said to him. He's going to be on my podcast on Thursday, and I said to him, you know what? The best thing about it was watching him regroup. If you go back and watch, when the group catches him, there were 14 guys in that group. And he seriously did a double take because he did not expect that big of a group. And to hear him talk about how he got back on the group and he, regrouped himself and finished 10th. He was second American and he finished 10th in 2:11 after going out so hard. And it was just really fun to hear his story. And, he's done everything from rim to rim to rim. He is a indoor world record holder in the indoor track for a marathon. He's the world record holder for the 50K. I mean, this guy is amazing. And he started, in 2011 with us at Foot Locker. So pretty cool.
Did. Yeah, he's mentally as tough as it gets. I mean, I remember watching on Sunday or Monday. He was so tired. He looked so bad. He was leaning back. It was starting to go up the hill. I thought, oh, there's no way he's going with them. And yet he did. He really regrouped. That's some mental toughness you just can't teach. That kid is a tough kid. So, anyway, hey, it's a great week coming up. This is going to be exciting. We're right in the middle of cross-country season. High school kids are running invitationals all over the country. It's great. And the colleges, this really should be something special this week. So we've got pre-nationals down in Tallahassee this weekend and the Nuttycombe this weekend also, both on Friday. So, that should sharpen the NCAA championship picture a little bit here, but I think it's going to be a little bit of same as last year. Northern Arizona is the #1 ranked team in the country. And last year they fended off a challenge, a great runner-up finish for Notre Dame last year. Notre Dame came on really strong. They have everybody back, and they have developed quite a core under Coach Sean Carlson. And they're looking to make that final step from the second place spot up to the top of the podium this year. And Carrie and I had a chance to talk with Coach Carlson and three of his top runners. We had Dylan Jacobs, Carter Solomon, and Jake Renfrey join us. So we had a chance to talk to them last week. All right, we'd like to introduce our first guests for this evening. Let me start with Coach first. So we're with Notre Dame coach Sean Carlson. And maybe just a little bit, Coach, before we get started here, just a little introduction. So the folks who may not be familiar with your previous coaching history. So first off, Sean was the team captain and All-American at North Central College in Illinois. He helped the Cardinals win the Division III National Cross Country Championship in 2009. Then he was hired as an assistant at Notre Dame in 2011. And now he's in his third year as head cross country coach, and he's built the Fighting Irish into a national powerhouse. During his tenure at Notre Dame, Coach has directly coached Irish athletes to 2 NCAA championships, 8 school records, 4 ACC championships, and 2 USA Under-20 championships. And last year, he led the 2021 cross-country team to its most successful season in more than 60 years. His squad produced a tremendous effort to finish runner-up to Northern Arizona in the men's Division I cross-country championships. In fact, the Irish placed 6 runners in the top 40 finishers, and that gave them 6 All-Americans, more than any other program in the nation. So first off, Coach, welcome, and thanks so much for joining us. Really appreciate the time.
Yeah, thank you for the warm introduction. I really appreciate it, and we're all excited to be here.
How about a quick introduction of the gentleman sitting behind you, just so everybody knows who they are?
Yeah. So I've got with me here Jake Renfrey, who was second at Foot Locker. Dylan Jacobs, the old guy here. He won Foot Locker a couple years back, and then Carter Solomon here, who was second at Foot Locker also. So we got a squad full of a lot of Foot Locker guys here at Notre Dame.
That's an understatement there. We were laughing last year or 2 years ago when we were doing the last time introductions. Somebody said, if you forget what college they came from, just say they're going to Notre Dame. Because it seems like everybody is going to Notre Dame. It was one right after another. When Carrie and I were doing the interviews the day before, it just, where you go? Notre Dame. Okay, yeah. I mean, what's going on down there? So
yeah, we're missing a few here still too. And Danny was 10th at Nationals last year, and he was 3rd at Foot Locker his senior year. And then Josh was 36th at Nationals, and he won Foot Locker his senior year. So yeah, we've got them.
Oh man, it's great. It's exciting. My last name is O'Rourke, so I'm always telling people it's great to be Irish. But I think that I'm going to change that to be, it's great to be an Irish distance runner. I just want to start with this. It has been an incredible few months for you folks. I can't believe how many things have happened. So exciting for you guys. First, you put that great cross-country race together. It was so exciting to watch. Carrie was there, and I was watching on the internet there. Guys kept moving up and moving up and moving up, and what a great race. So you finished second to NAU. That was great. And then Jared comes back in track and breaks the NCAA record at 1,500. Then he makes the Olympic team. And then we're sitting there watching Molly Seidel, a Notre Dame alum, win the bronze medal. So, I mean, it's great to be an Irish distance runner. What's it been like at school for the last, 5 or 6 months with all these great things happening?
Well, it's definitely an exciting time in our program. I feel like we're really just kind of getting started. Dylan's class really was our first big recruiting class, and since then they've kind of gotten better and better. So we're really excited about the future. It was a really fun year this past year, but I think we got some even bigger things ahead here. And speaking of Jared, he actually ran the Foot Locker regionals, but he didn't make it to Foot Locker nationals. I wanted to throw that out there because
I know he was 16th in the South. I mean, that's one of the great stories. It's so great for kids to hear that. You see somebody like Dylan, and Jake and Carter and all that, and they think, well, do I have to be an 852 miler, in high school to make it? And yet the sport's full of it with athletes who have come from high school that were good or even average and become great. And so that's what's great. But you've got the perfect combination of both the champions and then the others like Jared, and you've really got them combined together. What's that like as a team? I mean, you're recruiting kids. there are about 40 other states in the U.S. that you haven't even hit yet. You seem to be only hitting in the middle part of the country, and it seems to be working pretty well. Are you looking for a specific kid when you talk to them? What do you tell them about what's special about going to Notre Dame and running cross country at Notre Dame?
Yeah, I mean, we're focused on getting guys that want a fit academically. This is one of the top universities in the country, and so we want someone that really values an education. But then we want guys that want to have an opportunity to compete for a national title, and that's kind of that's what our program's goal is, and that's our goal, and we're inching closer and closer into it every year. But to find guys that want to marry the two, academics and athletics, it's a unique portion of the population, and we've been really fortunate to find some really great guys that have done that. And, we've gotten a lot of guys out of the Midwest, but this year we've already gotten a couple kids that are committed from the West Coast that I already know will be running Foot Locker, because that definitely is our thing. But yeah, I mean, I think the nice thing, especially for if you look at all these guys, none of their high school 2-mile PRs were impressive, for all being cross country All-American. But kind of one of the things that helped showcase their distance abilities was the Foot Locker National Meet, and yeah.
That's good. Let me introduce Carrie. I don't know if you guys remember Carrie. Carrie's an Olympian and outstanding runner herself. And so, Carrie, let's bring Carrie in, Carrie Tollefson.
Yeah, I loved commentating last year at the NCAAs. It was so crazy seeing you guys do so well, and even doing the research coming up to the meet. I think those of us that really knew the guys, I knew a lot of you from Foot Locker, and we knew you had the talent, but you weren't in the talks per se for top 3, top 5. But I wanted to know from Coach, like, how do you get your guys to believe that when clearly we can read what's on the internet, we can see the rankings, we can see what other people are saying, but you guys knew. I mean, even in some of the races beforehand, your spread was so small, and your time, the time across your spread was so little that, I mean, you obviously knew you had it. You had it in you.
Yeah, that was it was kind of fun for us to kind of lay under the radar for most of the year. Even 6 weeks before nationals, we went out to Vegas, and we were in the thick of some pretty hard training, and we only took 4th in Vegas against some teams that we raced again at NCAAs and beat. But I mean, the environment and the culture that we've tried to create, and the confidence that we've tried to create in our guys, it's like a daily occurrence. And so when sometimes things don't go your way, you don't kind of like burn the house down and think that it's not working. It's kind of staying on the path. And I think the other big thing that we have that is a bit unique is I think we really have guys that love each other and will do anything for each other, and that allows guys to do things that maybe they otherwise wouldn't be able to do. Like when we finished 20th, 21st, 22nd, and 23rd at the national meet, it's pretty hard to have guys that close in fitness, right? And that was more of a product of them fighting for each other to get there. And we've just got a great group of guys that really understand what it takes to be successful as a team.
I love that, because it was just like all the 3 guys behind you were shaking their heads as you were talking, Coach. Like, you can tell it's a family. And we talk a lot about the Foot Locker race becoming a family. Like, everyone that goes there is this alumni, right? But yet we're this forever long family. And all 3 of you guys raced there kind of overlapping each other in 2017 and 2018. Did you know each other then? Like, did you have any idea that you were going to have this long future ahead of being, the Irish and, becoming so close?
I'd say I knew of these guys, obviously, because when you're big names and in high school, you hear a lot about other guys from other states and how good they are and competitive. I wouldn't say I knew they were coming. We were definitely trying to I knew when I went to Foot Locker, I already committed to Notre Dame. So definitely trying to talk the younger guys into it a little bit. Build that family there because I mean that's what college is about. It's about winning as a team. Individual results are awesome, but unless you're doing it with the team and with your family, like you're saying, it doesn't mean as much. So yeah, definitely seeing the talent of these guys is definitely a conversation. But I mean, everyone needs their own journey and has to find that. So when they committed, I was extremely happy.
Yeah, I just remember seeing Dylan and Danny's names both going to Notre Dame, and I thought that was so cool. I kind of grew up a little bit of a Notre Dame fan. So after the race, I just really wanted to talk to those guys. My parents were out there, they're like, go talk to him about Notre Dame. Like, we want to hear all about it. And that was just so awesome to see. And then I knew Carter was from the Midwest region. And so after the race, going up to congratulating him, just talking to him, making sure he knew who I was in case he wanted to ever talk to me about Notre Dame. And so it was really cool to be able to see kind of the overlap because all the guys we've gotten, I was able to kind of meet at that race.
I think the night before Carter's senior year, I called him and Josh, who went 1-2 at Foot Locker, and I was like, yeah, I think you guys can go 1-2. And I don't know if Carter really believed me, but the next day he did.
Yeah. I certainly knew these two guys before they knew who I was. And I saw how they placed at Foot Locker at the regional meets and at the national meets. And I saw where they were going to school. And I was like, there seems to be a correlation of guys that are top 10 at Foot Locker and heading to Notre Dame. So coming into junior year, my goal was to kind of replicate what they had done and get in contact with them and see where we could go from there. So, yeah.
Carter, that's an interesting question because, a lot of times, with women's teams, we had Diljit from BYU also talking about how much of a bond they held. And sometimes with guys, there's such great competition. Now, you're in a program with some great guys. There's going to be a battle to see who those 7 are that are going to be on that line in Tallahassee in the national championship. How does that work as far as for you coming in as the last of this group here, kind of the youngster, if you will, with this group here, is how they made you feel part of that? And yet you want to be, you're going to display somebody, but everybody's pretty proud of the fact that even 8th, 9th, 10th is part of it. How does that work? How do you feel that works?
Yeah. So I think the whole part of being a family comes into place here. Coach is telling me, like, you got to do what's best for the team at all times. If that means racing every race, including the regional meet, just to put the team in a good position at nationals where these guys can stay fresh, then that's what I'm willing to do. It's putting myself in a position where these guys will succeed so that they can help the program succeed is in my best interest, and learning from them and learning from their experiences at the national meet. So, when my opportunity comes, I'll be as prepared as possible.
That's one of the nice things that we have is that there's no disconnect in success anymore. And so, the younger guys that come in that are good, they get to learn from some of the best guys in the country. And so, when they become juniors and seniors, they just fill right into those roles really easily. And, Carter is definitely one of the next guys that's coming into that fold.
What was your favorite thing at Foot Locker, you guys? Real quick. Was it the ice skating? Was it the race? Was it Del Coronado? I don't know. What was it?
The crown.
For me, I mean, coming from around Chicago at that time of year, it's crappy weather. So going down to Foot Locker was quite the experience. It seemed almost like a vacation where you can like stay focused and achieve a goal that you wanted for so long. But it's hard not to enjoy when you have the sun and the beach and the Coronado and like you said, ice skating and a bunch of great guys around you. So honestly, the experience as a whole, but just the weather, the Coronado right on the beach was one of my favorite parts.
Yeah, I think for me it was coming in and the big motivation for me was trying to get the Team South to a victory and getting to know all those guys so much better was such an awesome experience. Guys that I still talk to, guys that at the national meet I'll say hi to. But even crazy enough, Carter Cheeseman, who was Team South, that's where I met him. We were roommates last year, which is just a crazy connection. And I think for me that was the coolest part of being, for the first time, being part of an elite team of guys going out and trying to win.
I think we better check the lobby of the Del Coronado. Maybe it's Coach Carlson that's rooming people together. Maybe that's it, huh? See how that's going on. Hey, I'm a geek as far as the sport goes, and watching that NC2A race, so watch you guys move up. Maybe Dylan and Jake. I mean, you guys kept moving and moving, and to have 4 guys within 2 seconds of each other, and all 5 of you within 15, that's got to be helpful, especially on a course like that. That was a pretty tough course. So what was it like the last couple miles of that race with the other teammates right beside you that way?
So for me, it was me, Josh, and Andrew Alexander that were in that kind of 3, 4, 5 pack. And the idea was basically just to stay attached. We were going to lean off of Xander's kind of senior experience in national races, and he was going to do what he needed to do to get us in a good position. And from then on, it was just about really feeling the family aspect of it, really doing whatever you had to do to stay in that race, to stay with your brother, to get to the finish line with those guys. And it ended up just being where that was what ended up happening the whole race. Was me personally, I was doing everything I possibly could to stay with those guys for as long as possible, and that's how we were able to kind of get as high as we did.
You said stay attached. Was that one of the words that Coach kind of got into your brain? Stay attached?
Yeah. The idea was to stay attached as much as you possibly could. And so in my mind, I was just thinking, I got to make it to at least 8K with those guys, and then let the last 2K kind of take care of itself. But yeah, that was the idea.
And Sean, where were you during that last mile and a half or so when all this was happening?
Man, I was all over the place. Pretty cool experience. I mean, by about like a mile to go, we had almost 100 points on third. So, I was less worried about, someone coming up for us and seeing how close we could close the gap. For a group of guys to, if you look at the podium finishes at the national meet over the last 3 decades, there's a handful of schools that have really done it, and to kind of break back into that group is really exciting for our program. And I mean, I was just thinking about, as soon as the race finished, I was like, oh, we return everybody. This is a pretty good sign for so,
yeah, pretty good. Yeah, that's outstanding. One real quick question, because I told you, Coach, we got a lot of high school coaches that are watching here, and you're a high school coach, and you've had such great success. If you could go back to that first couple years in high school when you were coaching there, and what you know now, what are the things? Just one thing maybe that you would change, and then one thing you said, hey, that was exactly what I should have been doing. Anything that comes to mind in those 2 areas?
Yeah, I think the one thing that's probably most important is just caring about the kids as people first. I think when you do that, it leads to the results will start taking care of themselves. And I think that's something that I was proud of, and I still am, is really focusing on just caring about the people as people first before they're running, because you're gonna coach in high school, you're going to have some really, really good guys, and you're going to have some guys that are kind of just getting into the sport. And I think you can provide a really positive experience for all those kids, and not just the top ones, by caring about them. And it's just an awesome way to teach people about what being a part of a team is, regardless of how good some of those athletes are. And I think that's a life skill that you can transfer to other places.
That's outstanding. Carrie, you want to finish this off here?
Well, I just want to say I can't wait. I'm coming back to do the commentary, and I am going to be studying up and hopefully learning so much more about you guys. But true class acts, so fun to watch you last year. And you know what? Staying attached. That's my new thing. I got chills when you said that, because that's exactly what you guys did. And for you to follow the words of your coach like that, I love it. So good luck. Have fun.
Thank you. Thanks for having us.
I want to thank Carter and Jake and Dylan, and especially Coach Carlson. It's going to be exciting. It's so exciting for young coaches to hear that. Everybody says, boy, if I could. Well, hey, if you give a dang about your athletes, then good things will happen. So we're rooting for Notre Dame. Remember, it's good to be Irish. All right. So thank you so much, guys, and we'll see you soon. Good night. Oh, that was awesome. It's really interesting. We get a lot of you asking questions already. It was a lot of fun. So I'm just going to address a couple ones real quick because somebody asked about the East Bay Regionals. That's awesome already. We already got the name changed. So, and then somebody asked about the website. Will it be updated? Remember, it's a new website. Opens Friday at 9 o'clock. It'll be eastbaycrosscountry.com. eastbaycrosscountry.com. Friday morning the 15th at 9 a.m. That's when you go on that website. And that'll answer all your questions. And just a reminder, we will be somewhat restricted by whatever the restrictions are in that part of the country at that time, and we'll follow whatever those mandates are to make sure we get those meets in. So there may be some changes, and we'll let you know those. But the regionals. Another question was, can my school come? Can my club come? As long as you're a high school runner and you're eligible this year in the high school, you're fine. You can enter. You can bring everybody. There are races for everybody, not just the seeded race. There's freshman, sophomore, junior, senior races, all that stuff. Some of our regionals even have age group races for younger kids. So you can check all that out on the website. Come join us. There is no qualifying time. Everybody who wants to enter can. That's one of the beauties about this. This is truly a national championship. Nobody gets in for free. Nobody gets in at large. Nobody gets gee, you're really nice and you had a bad day. Come on down and run anyway. You got to earn your spot. You got to earn it at the regionals. And when you do, it makes it even more special to get to the nationals. So remember, Friday morning, 9 o'clock, eastbaycrosscountry.com. That'll answer all your questions, and it'll also enable you to register in your teammates. So please do that. So speaking of the regionals, we've already had the Northeast and the South and the Midwest, and we're ready to bring on our fourth region for the East Bay Regionals, and the coordinator of that region is Doug Todd. So Doug, first off, thanks for joining us, and you excited about the opportunity to welcome everybody back to the West and show off your beautiful brand new stadium there at Mount Sac?
I think you might be on mute there, Doug.
Can you hear me?
There we are.
Now we go.
All right. Well, thank you. Hey, listen, correct on both accounts to the answer. That's what I was saying. And so excited to be back and offering a full slate of our normal cross-country activities. That's always been so much fun, and we get to do it again this year. But kind of the highlight was culminating with the Foot Locker, now East Bay Regional Championship. So, yeah, we're really excited and looking forward to everybody seeing our new stadium as well.
Doug, you guys have made plans. Everything's in progress for a great regional then?
Oh, yeah. All the boxes are checked. The I's are dotted. The T's are crossed. We just need the great athletes to show up and run fast.
And this year we're going back, no more construction on the course itself. So we're going back to the traditional finish area also?
Yep. Everything is cleaned up and ready to go. And we'll use that normal traditional finish line. And, of course, starting on our nice backstretch back there and behind on the far east side of the course. So that's going to be fun.
Doug, one of the questions we got several questions during that. That was great, wasn't Sean Carlson, the Notre Dame guy? That was awesome stuff. One of the questions was about the regionals. What do you offer in the West region as far as divisions go?
There are all the grade level divisions. There's an open race for anybody who's not in high school. And then, of course, there are the two championship races where we select the top 8 boys and top 8 girls.
Over the years, those 8 have become kind of a group effort, haven't they? They kind of talk to each other. They kind of figure it out. They kind of look at each other and see what's going on. That's pretty exciting for them. The hills there, pretty tough at Mount Sac, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a challenging course. There's no doubt about it. And speaking of the group effort, that's always the fun part. I wish I could be a fly on a wall in that little pack. It seems like it forms up, and by the time they round Reservoir and heading up that last hill, they've kind of all decided, hey, this is us and this is the group. And, it'd be fun to be in the middle of all that conversation. But they're running just a little quicker than I could handle, so I'll just have to guess.
Well, I'm sure you'll handle well. Stay with us here because we're going to bring on another guest and one of the boys that will be trying to get into that group of 8, if you will. It's Kitten. Paula Kitten is a senior at Francis Parker High School. And if you're not sure where Francis Parker is, if you've ever watched the Foot Locker National Champ, I think it's about 5 minutes away, maybe 10 minutes away. So we know Kitten's been on that course many times. And in fact, just about a month ago, the Mount Carmel Invitational is run basically on the same course that we run Foot Locker, and he ran 14:58. Now, those of you familiar with Foot Locker go, oh my goodness, that's pretty quick. Well, yeah, 14:58 on that course really is. Josh Methner, he won that race in 2019, ran 15:08 on that. Cole Hawker, you certainly recognize that name, was on our Olympic team here this summer. He ran that same course at 15:13. And just to give you a little bit more, Galen Rupp ran 14:57 on that course. So we're watching a little bit. Kenan pulled away from everybody. So Kenan, what do you think about when you hear your name mentioned alongside those names?
Well, it's certainly gratifying. And I mean, when I started cross country, I'd never expect to get to where I am now. But it's just a testament to, how in the end, it's really how much work you put in and how much you really want to get out of it. So it's definitely a nice thing to hear, and it's definitely inspiring and makes you want to work harder.
You are really having one heck of a cross-country season. So, we didn't have a state meet last year in cross-country or track, but your training did it actually, you think it's made you a little stronger even maybe?
Oh, for sure. I mean, I like to think that because of COVID, I've been able to come out really strong, given that, it's completely unprecedented. We will never really have time like that to train. Like I got a year and a half of just training, no distractions, no races, nothing like that, just training, getting ready for the upcoming track seasons. And I think that those who were able to stay dedicated and passionate throughout that and were able to hold on and keep training come out a lot stronger, which is why we're probably seeing a lot of records being broken really fast. Boys, at Arcadia last year with just the California boys having that many runs sub-9, it's just a testament to how, we've never really had time like this to train and just train and not race. And it's starting to show itself now.
Kenan, you're obviously so good and you have so much drive and potential. And is this race now the East Bay race? I know that you heard the announcement. Has this been something that you've been wanting to do?
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, since I ran the Foot Locker back when it was Foot Locker, the Western qualifiers back in 2019, I think I got like 67th, but ever since then, every day I've been thinking about, how cool would it be to be able to run nationals my junior or senior year, just given that it's literally right here. Like I'm a 10-minute drive away from the course, and being able to kind of represent my hometown at that national meet would just be the coolest thing in the world. And it's something I've thought about every day and continue to think about. And it's what's pushing me to train harder and race harder right now.
Have you come out to watch before?
I haven't come out to watch. I've watched it online, but I will be there hopefully racing, but if not, I'll definitely come out to watch.
Oh, I think you're going to be there racing. I think for sure. In fact, you and Doug will actually have a chance to meet up. Doug, Mount Sac Cross Country Invitational is just a week and a half away, and Kenan is one of the featured runners.
Yeah, I think that Division 4-5 sweepstakes race on Friday is going to be exciting. And there's somebody in there who, in that race, you probably know the name, Bryce Gilmore. He's you and he going to match up, so I think it's going to be an exciting race. Looking forward to seeing it.
Oh yeah, I'm really excited to race Bryce. And then there's also Alex Mader from up north. He also committed to Yale, and he's going to be running there, hopefully. So yeah, definitely a lot of fun competition.
Good. Well, we'll be ready for you.
It's good you brought up Yale. I think Mile Split last week did a thing on who's a big surprising recruiter this year in the nation, and put Yale in there. So you're not a bad student, huh? What's your GPA there, Kenan? Huh?
I have a 4.68 weight GPA.
What? That's amazing.
Thanks. Yeah. So definitely like studying and running, probably both. But yeah, so I'm really excited about going out east and racing in the Ivy League with those boys.
It really is an impressive group. You mentioned Alex, and I think the Jesuit Braden King, right?
Oh yeah.
You guys all. So you wanted to go east. Obviously, education is important. But what was it that the coach was able to get all three of you there? That's pretty impressive.
Yeah, I mean, for me, it was I absolutely fell in love with the campus life and just the team dynamic there. It seemed like a place where you can really grow as an individual, not just as an athlete. And of course, those two come hand in hand. Of course, the academics is elite. It's something I'm very excited about. But yeah, just that team dynamic, I really felt a sense of community there, and everyone wanted everyone else to succeed. There wasn't like really this inter-team competition that I saw elsewhere. And the coach was really supporting. I'm really excited about the future, and that got me excited. And now I'm going there, so it definitely worked.
Wow.
Very exciting stuff. It's always great when we have a San Diego kid in the finals. We've had some winners, over the years, and they always have the hometown favorite. I know when we do the introductions, it's yeah, and then a San Diego kid, and everybody goes crazy. So you certainly will be the hometown favorite. Real quick here, what are your goals for track season this year?
Yeah, well, I wasn't able to break 9 last track season. I ran 9:02, so that's definitely something I want to do. I'm running the Postal 2 mile in a few weeks, so I'll see if I can do it there. But if not, I definitely want to go under 9 during the track season, possibly under 8:50 if I really do put in the training and the effort, and I think that's definitely doable. I also didn't get the chance to race the 1600 a lot last year, so maybe to dip under 420, run 415, 414 would be nice. And then I've actually never raced the state race at Fresno, because freshman year I didn't qualify. Sophomore year there was none, and then junior year it was kind of put together last minute, and I was out of town. So to go back there to race and to compete, run against those Newbury Park boys, that would be a lot of fun too.
It'll be an exciting year, especially in California. Yeah. You're going to have to run under 850 just to get in the top 10 there, it looks like.
Exactly.
Wow. Well, hey, Kitten, thank you so much. It's really been fun to watch you run. It's going to be even more fun to watch you at Mount Sac. You get a chance to get on the West Region course, see how that feels, and then have a chance to watch you in the regional. And I'd be betting on the finals there. And we want to thank Doug Todd. Doug, thank you so much for all you do for the sport. I know you got that little meet with about 15,000 kids coming up, and then the East Bay Regional. So we want to thank both of you for joining us tonight.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks. Thanks for having us. Always a pleasure.
Thanks, really guys.
Is.
Good luck, Kitten.
Thanks.
All right. Well, an athlete who knows what the Foot Locker experience already is joining us next. It's Ashlynne Cough, and she was growing up at Cornwall Central High School in New York, 7-time state champion there, and then in her sophomore, junior, and senior years, made it all the way to the Foot Locker National Championships, 12th as a sophomore, 4th as a junior, and in 2010, she not only won the Foot Locker Championship, but she won it by one of the largest margins. I think it's the 3rd largest margin ever, 34 seconds. And that winning time that day of 16:53 is still the 8th fastest time ever run on the San Diego course. And so an impressive effort that day. She went on to Stanford, where she was a Pac-12 champion 3 times, finished 2nd in the 2014 NCAA Outdoors at 5,000. She's now a professional runner for Saucony. She's had a great career following Stanford in 2019. She was the USATF Club Cross Country National Champion in Pennsylvania. And just last month, she went wire to wire in the 43rd annual Freihofer's Run for Women. So, Ashley, first off, welcome. We're glad that you joined us. Can you remember back to that race in 2010? The last couple of years, the girls' races, have been decided in the last 10 meters, but that race, you dominated that race. Do you remember it?
Yeah, and thanks for showing it to me again in bits and pieces. I don't remember the last time I've watched this race, so it's definitely a blast from the past. And I try to watch it every year live if I can, and there are some very exciting finishes. And mine was not nearly as exciting, but it was more exciting on a personal level, but it was not left down to the end for sure.
You've been running so well. I mean, you've had a really good summer here. The pandemic, I don't know how your training was through it, but, for you to come out now, be 5th at the 20K National Championships, you were 1st at Freihofer's, 6th at Falmouth, I believe. I mean, you're coming back into your own.
Yeah, no, I think the pandemic, kind of like halted and stopped life in a lot of ways and made people rethink a lot of things. But for me, it was an opportunity to just do different sorts of training. And I found myself getting out in the woods a lot, doing trail runs and kind of finding like a different side of the sport that I love and enjoy. And I think that was really good for me just to hit a reset button. I think I had been getting very caught up in the very like well written schedule of the professional athlete like racing schedule throughout the year. And so when that all got halted, I think it made me like find what I really did love about running and training again. And I think that's boosted me really well going forward.
Are you going to school to become a physical therapist, did I read?
Yes. Yeah. So I'm in my second year of physical therapy school right now at MGH IHP in Boston, and I'm loving every day of it. And I think that's also helped me find a nice balance with running. I think before, running was my 24/7. Everything I thought about was running. And so now kind of being back in school and pursuing another one of my passions just like put some balance in my life. And I think that's been really good for me as well.
It really has been an exciting time, and I think you mentioned the point, just like Kenna did, that maybe for our sport, maybe for the sport of cross country, the pandemic, and you can't go out and find 10 other people to play football with, or 5 other people, and form a basketball team. But cross country, you can just go do some running. I remember hearing Adam Goucher talk about what brought him back that one time after he'd been retired for a while. Just fell in love with the sport again. It sounds like you did too, out running in the woods. And did you find you really enjoyed? It's been a long time training, hasn't it? Did you find you enjoyed it again?
Yeah, no, it was definitely a different experience. There wasn't any like track 5Ks to train for necessarily. So just like getting out and going for long runs and not worrying about the pace or not worrying about the distance and kind of being in nature was this like area I'd never let myself explore because it wasn't, you couldn't prescribe it or you couldn't like keep it very regimented. And so it was the perfect opportunity for me just to, I don't know, like take a step back and just run for fun. And I think that was really good for a lot of people.
Asking where are you actually training now in Boston? But do you still are you still being coached by Ray Tracy?
So I'm actually in Concord, Mass. So
Okay.
Well, outside of Boston, people will say, and but not that far outside. And I absolutely love it here for running. There's tons of trails around and like dirt paths and rail trails. So it's so ideal as a distance runner to train here. And yeah, so I'm not getting like a strict training written by Ray anymore. I think my school schedule is getting super complicated, and I think right before COVID hit, I'd been going through a rough patch with training and getting up for it. So, but he's still around. He's still a great resource that I utilize on and off, like for big picture stuff, like should I try a half marathon in the coming months, and how do I, and what rate, like how to kind of frame more big picture questions. He's been a great resource, as he is for a ton of people. Like he's such a good guy to have just around in your life.
Yeah, he has so many Foot Locker alum. Amy Rudolph, he has Emily Sisson, he has Molly Huddle. I mean, the list goes on and on and on. And, he obviously knows that the Foot Locker alum are where it's at.
Yes.
Now East Bay alum.
Okay. Yes. No, he finds a way of getting all these people to come to Providence. So
yeah.
Is that something, we've seen a lot of what we just saw Sarah Hall run again in the marathon, and we have Ashley Brass fans out there running 50 milers and all that. Are you thinking about a half or a full at some point soon?
Yeah, I think I definitely have that on my radar. I don't know exactly when that'll come up, but I'd love to try Boston in the spring. At some point, I don't know. I've been in Massachusetts now for 3+ years, and watching it every year, you got to try it at some point. So I'm definitely getting the itch. And you're asking me on a bad week. Boston just happened a few days ago,
right.
So I'm on a Boston high right now.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, at some point I want to get into longer stuff. I think New Haven was painstakingly short of a half marathon, but it basically was. So in my head, I've done a half, but I haven't really done a half. And had a lot of fun there. So would love to get doing more of those soon.
What was your favorite thing at Foot Locker? I always love hearing this.
Like the weekend or the...
Yeah, like was it the race? Maybe it was regionals. I don't know. What was it?
I guess so, like the first time I ever made it to Foot Locker was my sophomore year. And at the regional meet, just making it, I had so many friends and family that had come down. My coaches were there. So that moment in and of itself was a pretty exciting moment, but that wasn't like in San Diego or anything. And then I would say for in San Diego, probably my senior year, the year I won it, a ton of people I knew were there supporting me on the course. There were some people from Cornwall that had since moved to San Diego that caught wind that I would be running there and came out with posters. And my coaches brought their families out, and they had never brought their families to Foot Locker before. So it was a big trip for my coaches' families as well. And my family was there. And so, yeah, that was just kind of like a big social weekend of people coming to cheer me on and also to enjoy San Diego. And I was just like over the moon that it went really well for me, but then also that there were so many people there to enjoy it with. It was awesome. Yeah.
You know, a lot of girls make it as freshmen, sophomore, juniors. You know, very seldom it's the boys. It's almost always juniors, freshmen, sophomore. But the winners are almost always seniors. Experience plays a difference, and people. I know a lot of runners watch these shows for tips on that. So you ran that course almost as well as it possibly could be run, 16:58. So if you brought your a high school kid out there and they said, "What do I do?" What's your advice on that course?
Ooh. Yeah, I would say the course is a very unique course. I think experience plays such a big role, and there's tons of people who win it their first time there and stuff. But I think I was definitely helped by having run it before. My advice would be to respect that hill. I think coming from New York, I had been running hilly courses all the time, and I think the first time I saw the course, I was like, oh yeah, there's a hill. Like I run bigger hills. But I don't know, there's something about that hill. And especially that second time around, I feel like that hill coming in the last K, I think you really have to conserve yourself going up it the first time. You have to save something for going up it the second time. So I would caution about the hill and keep in mind that that hill comes again in the last K and just be prepared for it.
All right, Coach Cuff, thank you very much there.
Yeah, no problem.
All right, so you and Carrie are in that fraternity of Kinney, Foot Locker, East Bay National Championship. So Ashlynne, thank you so much. We really appreciate the time.
Yeah, no worries. Thanks for having me on. Nice to chat to you.
Great. Well, Carrie, we started by saying that it was going to be an exciting evening. It is. It's so exciting to see a meet this important. You know, we've said it many times, just about every American distance runner, you know, who makes an Olympic team or who breaks a record, you know, has one thing in common. They made it to Foot Locker, and now they'll make it to East Bay. So it's pretty exciting, isn't it?
It is so exciting. And, you know, to hear, you know, I mean, it's not just me that talks about it being such an awesome meet. It's anyone that's involved in it, and mostly the athletes. Just, they feel like they can do so many things in the upcoming years, you know, whether it's college or as a pro. And this is kind of the stepping stone. What you do at regionals, then if you make it to nationals, and then beyond. So yeah, it's a pretty spectacular event, and I'm really thrilled it's coming back.
Yeah, I think we all are. I think there's a lot of kids across the country going to be on there texting tonight, telling people, hey, we're in, let's go. So we want to thank, remember, eastbaycrosscountry.com. It'll answer all your questions. I can see a whole bunch of new questions on there, all things about divisions and where do we register and all that. So it's eastbaycrosscountry.com. That'll answer all your questions as far as, you know, how do you get in, how do you register, and all the information for each of the regionals. So please, Friday at 9, that'll open up, and you can share that with your coach and your friends. And so just want to take a moment to thank Coach Sean Carlson, and Doug Todd, Ken and Paula, Ashlynne Cough, the boys from Notre Dame. It was great. We hope that you'll join us. We'll be back on November 10th, the second Wednesday of the month, 8:30 Eastern Time, 5:30 Pacific. Again, at that point, state meet's going to be going on. It'll be great, and we'll be just a week away from the NC2As. Carrie, you want to make any predictions on those NC2As? Huh?
I cannot make predictions right now. It is so exciting. Everyone is just kind of starting to come out of the woodwork. They're putting together their teams. This weekend's going to be a big weekend with Nutting-Holcomb and Pre-Nat, so I'm pumped.
Exciting stuff. Well, hope you'll join us on November 10th for another fun evening. And once again, thank you to everybody, and we'll see you at a Foot Locker Regional this year. Good night.